Hi, Caleb from Brownells here, and in today's quick tip, I'm going to be going through the setup of the True North Concepts modular holster adapter. So this is one of my favorite pieces of equipment for mounting holsters whenever you're carrying a gun on a gun belt. So let's just kind of jump right into it. So I have the modular holster adapter here. I also use the leg strap just because I carry heavier guns and I don't like to be running and have my holster slapping my thigh. My wife's the only one that gets to slap these thighs, so that's why I use a leg strap. So we'll set that up too. Now let's just open this bad boy up. Kind of reminds me of opening up an MRE. It's just the same kind of packaging, but a much better smell. All right, so we have that one there. These are made out of billet aluminum, so they're super sturdy. And then you have this very in-depth hardware kit here. And I haven't set one of these up in years, so we're basically going through it for the first time together now. This has been a while. All right, you have your plates here. These are what actually mount to the back side of your gun belt, and we'll get to that in a minute here. Then you have some little hardware baggies. You have some anti-vibration coating here, Vibratite. Cool. So just to kind of save me from opening that up and making a mess, I'll just use the Brownells one here. But it is definitely recommended. Alright, so you got a bunch of hardware in these little packs. I'm just going to open these guys up here. Alright, so there's a bunch of little rubber spacers, and then some screws and nuts there. And I'm just going to throw that aside as well. And we have the same thing again here with a different pack. So I'm going to keep those separate. Alright. Alright, yeah, set that there. Okay, so. Alright, so you got 3 different flavors, 3 different lengths of screws, different spacers, all that stuff. Alright, so we got all of our hardware out the bags. The color code of the bags does mean something, right? So we have our red bag, our green bag, and our blue bag, which the blue bag we're actually not going to use at all because those are direct to holster, and I'll get into that in just a second. So the red is for actually mounting our holster to the belt, right? So these little spacers are going to go in between the bars, and then screws will go through on the belt. We'll do that last. Or actually, we'll probably do it next. But anywho, let's jump on to the actual holster itself. So we use... Let me move this so I don't knock it over. Okay. So we use QLS, right? So this is the SafariLand QLS setup. It's just a quick change setup, so I can use my SIG 226 holster or this Glock holster. I can use both of them, and I don't have to worry about changing them off on my belt, because I can literally just, if me and a buddy want to like trade guns while we're training or something, I can literally just unhook it and hand it to them, and it's quick change. It's extremely convenient. I've been using QLS for years now, and I'm never going back. So with that being said here, let's actually get it mounted. So first we need to determine where we want the holster to ride. And for that, what I would recommend doing, and what we'll actually do first here, this plate only mounts on your belt one way, right? You can kind of see it there. And the belt I'm using here, this is my Faro Concepts Bison belt. So what we'll do is we'll mount this plate on the belt, and then we'll determine holster height. I already know my holster height because, like I said, I've used this before. But the reason there's so many holes in it is so that it'll fit a wide variety of holsters, and you can mount them where you want with the cant you want and stuff like that. So what we need to do here, we just unhook it. I'll lay my belt down. And with this, it's not super important exactly where you put it on your belt, like as long as you're between hardware. Because this can actually slide forward and back a little bit. It'll move. If you try to move it, it'll move, which is great. Some people hate that. I actually like it because when I throw my belt on, I want to be able to make a fine adjustment. I don't want to have to put my belt at exactly the same, like down to the eighth of an inch spot the same exact time. I can be off a little bit one way or the other, and I don't have to worry about my draw. So what we're going to do, we're going to take these bars, lay them under our belts, just like so. And what we'll do is we'll actually just mount one side. So I'm going to take my spacers. You have 4 spacers, and they will go in between. And I'll just take one of these pieces on the back. We'll do the bottom first. Put my spacer on top. Take one of my through bolts. That goes on top as well. But you got to put it in the right hole or else you won't be able to do anything. And we'll get that thread started. We won't go all the way in yet. We'll just get it started. And do the same thing on the top. And you will have to compress this a little bit to get it on this bison belt. And I'm just doing, I know you can't see right now, but I'm just doing the same thing on top that I did on the bottom. I guess I can turn it over here. And how tight you actually make the screws will determine how easy it is to slide this belt back and forth. Again, I'm just getting it started here. And that's one side of it. Now you just need to do the other side. So repeat the process. All right. Screw that on there. And of course you could also take some of that Vibratite and put it on here. I actually don't use it on these screws, I use it on the holster mount. And I haven't had any issue with these coming loose because the screws are under plenty of tension once you get them tightened down because of that washer in there. But if you do have issues with that, or if you just want to make it bomb proof, definitely put that Vibratite just a little bit on the threads. A little bit goes a long way. Now I need a screwdriver to tighten that down. And I did not bring one, but I do have one in my multi-tool, so very convenient. I have my Batman utility belt here. So now we just tighten these down. And I'm putting this thing on here pretty tight right now. Yeah, there we go. And I'm going to back off a little bit so I can move it around. Yeah, now it goes. I can slide it back and forth just a little bit. That's perfect. Okay. And then once I kind of get it locked in. Also, another thing I'll note, something else you can do is just leave the rubber out, but you will definitely need to use the Vibratite if you do that. And if you want your holster to slide around super easy, that's a great method as well. But we're just going to go ahead and lock it down. I know where I like mine, so we'll put it there. Alright, now we can go ahead and mount our QLS adapter. So I have the screws right here for that, which was the green pack. And we're just going to mount it directly to the plate. So the plate has all these holes and cuts and stuff, so you can mount it with some cant if you want to. I prefer to use mine vertical, right up and down, just because of where it falls on me. So that works best for me. And I'm going to go with this height right here. Now, if you're using the leg adapter and you want to go lower, you just need to mount this first because you're covering your screw holes. But we're just going to do that second because we like ours right here. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a spacer, set it on the hole I need to go in, take my screw, push it through. So now at this point, like I said, I do recommend using some Vibratite, and I'm going to use the Brownells brand because it comes in the handy bottle here. And I'm just going to put a small amount on those threads. A little bit goes a long way. So put this in here, run it through. And it feels crazy using this multi-tool to do this, only because I'm in a gunsmith shop right now with a ridiculous amount of tools. Alright, so now we got that one tightened down. We just repeat this process on the other two. And I'm going to go ahead and position both of my spacers, these little rubber spacers here. Get those in, use something to help you on the back side there. Alright, I'm going to run my screws through. Just a dab will do you there. And there we go. All right. All right, great. So we just tighten all these down. Perfect. And that's all there is to it. So, like I said, I already knew kind of my setup, where things needed to fall, because I've done all the checking and stuff, and I will show you how to check your size here shortly. So let's just mount this leg strap. All right. Now, yep, okay, perfect. So we have our strap here. It goes on like this. I've seen people mount it on the front. I like to mount it on the back, just so that it puts the holster a little bit further out from my leg. Same thing, use some Vibratite here. I'm just going to go ahead and quickly hit these screws. And this stuff starts drying pretty quick, so you got to move somewhat quick once you put them on the screws here. Alright, so the nut itself is going to go in the front, then your spacer, and then your bolt is going to go all the way through. Super easy, just like the rest of the stuff. Alright, there we go. So tighten that down nice and snug. And then there you have it. So sizing on this piece is really simple because it just has this slider here so you can adjust for the size of your leg. It goes up to some pretty big sizes actually, so Like if you're real big on leg day and stuff, you don't have to worry. Or if you just want your mom to wear this with her massive legs, you can just, like, these will fit her as well. So you don't have to worry about that. So I'm not wearing my inner belt right now, but I'll just kind of throw it on my waistline here. And let me throw the Glock one on. Yeah, that's about right. I know you can't see me sizing my leg strap, but you're not missing much, I promise. I got some more sizing to do on that, that's okay. But anyway, to get the holster height right, just put the belt on, put it on your waistline like you're actually wearing it. And you're going to need a gun for this. Take a gun, put it in the holster, and just draw it a few times and see what's comfortable. See if you need to add some forward cant to it, some rearward cant, up, down. Just do what feels natural, right? It should be nice and natural, nice and easy to draw your gun from the holster, right? So something like that. So this is like the perfect height and cant for me, I found out, which was no cant and almost to the bottom. So depends on, you know, how tall your torso is, how long your arms are, all that stuff factors in. So your buddy's setup may not be the perfect setup for you. So that's important to remember. And yeah, that's all there is to it. So if I recommend just setting it up like this, then making adjustments after you've messed with it a bit. Go to the range, do some shooting, you know, see if that works for you. That's the best way to tell if a setup's going to work for you is to actually use it, right? So the point is, just get out to the range and train. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to post them down below. As always, if you need help with anything for any reason ever, feel free to give us a call on the tech line. We'll be happy to help you out. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.